In this presentation, we will discuss why learn payroll as it relates to QuickBooks. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. One of the main reasons to learn payroll as it relates to a computer software such as QuickBooks is because that is the way the payroll will be processed most of the time these days. We can learn the payroll concepts, and it's important to learn payroll concepts, but in practice, of course, they will be processed using some type of computer software. Reason being is because the payroll laws are getting very complex. So even if we only have a few people involved in terms of payroll, it's still fairly complex to process the payroll, and we almost have to have some support with that. And that support is typically going to come from some type of software and or outside professional help. So therefore, even if we are going to outsource payroll to payroll companies such as ADP or Paychex, or pay for our full service within QuickBooks to help us to process the payroll, we can't really get around needing to know and understand some components of payroll. Because even if we outsource it to ADP or Paychex, we pay for full service payroll within QuickBooks, we're still going to have to deal with questions and problems. If we have ADP and Paychex, we're going to have to somehow get it into our bookkeeping system so that we can report it on tax returns and have the information to answer employee questions and make sure that our income statement is properly reported in terms of the payroll expense on that side of things. It's just a really big part of the company, even if we only have a few people involved. And therefore, we need to know something about the theory as well as something about the practice. And the practice is going to involve some type of software such as QuickBooks. Here we are in our practice file. We're going to use this practice file to navigate through QuickBooks and the paid payroll options. We're actually going to build this practice file in the second part of the course. This is what we're going to create in our course project. However, at this point, we're just going to use this file to navigate through the system. This means that you do not have access to this practice file unless you worked through the problem first. So that is an option. You could go through and work through the problem first and then go back and look through this data. However, if you're going through this data first, this being the navigation portion of the course and just the general payroll information, then you don't have this exact data file. You can then use your own data file, your own company file, if you so choose to go through the navigation, even though the numbers will not be exactly the same. And you can also use the free option to navigate through as well, this being the test drive file. It won't have all the options for the payroll. However, it will have some of them and give you an idea of something that you can navigate through as we just look at the layout of QuickBooks. We're going to think about the theory of QuickBooks and the theory of payroll, and then apply that to practical purpose within QuickBooks by finding those options and navigating through them within the QuickBooks file. Then, of course, we will set this up in the payroll problem in the second part of the course. Also note that most of the options we will have for payroll will be applicable whether we are an S corporation or a sole proprietor or just about any type of organization. However, we will look at a few payroll options which will be specific to an S corporation. As we learn payroll within QuickBooks, we'll be taking a look at a few different files, one being specific to our payroll problem and entering payroll. We'll also take a look at QuickBooks test drive file. You can find this by just Googling QuickBooks Online test drive, and this will give us some examples. So if you don't have access to the practice file that we are working in, you can go to this file and that'll give you some information, not full information to access all the payroll data, but some information to follow along with. And of course, if you have your own company file and a QuickBooks file and payroll set up there, we can follow along with that information as well. As we go through the QuickBooks in the QuickBooks system, we're going to be in the Workers tab. We'll be able to see the flow and the process of us running the payroll, entering the payroll, adding the employees, looking at the process of adding the employees, and then actually processing the payroll. We'll also see the effect of processing payroll on the financial statements and payroll reports. This is going to be very important because no matter how we enter the payroll, we're going to have to reflect that data on the financial statements, be able to read it and communicate that information to others, including our employees, ourselves for future decision making, and anyone else that's in the business that needs the information for decision making. We're going to process a file that just has payroll in it. so that we can see the effect just of payroll on the financial statements and other reports. For example, this file here just has payroll process. That's all we have in it. That allows us to go through this and say all this information is a process of payroll. Now, obviously, we have more than just a straight payroll here. We have other items happening, including benefits, but all of these items are from payroll and benefits. We'll see how this is constructed and put together just through the processing of payroll. This is going to be the effect on the balance sheet just of processing payroll. We'll see that information on the profit and loss as well. So we'll be able to see just the information from payroll on the profit and loss, be able to concentrate in on that. Payroll, because of the withholdings, because of the regulations, because of taxes, is one of the most complex areas of just journal entry recording data, which would have been, if there was no complications with taxes and withholding, just be another simple kind of journal entry. But because of those complications, it is something that's more difficult, and no matter what we do with it, even if we outsource it, even if we pay for full service payroll, we have to have an idea of what it's doing to our financial data, how to enter that financial data, how to read that financial data. Looking at a payroll problem, going through a payroll problem that actually processes payroll, generates reports with just that payroll information in it, will give us a really good idea of what payroll is doing and therefore how to make best decisions about what type of payroll we should have. And once we make that decision, how to communicate the payroll information to others. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.